Hello YouTube, how's it going? I'm Artem the Farming Gamer, and welcome to what I would call clarification video. Just something I need to get off my chest in order for me to get my life, for me to just kind of get back to normal. Cause I tried making serious videos today, and I just couldn't. I couldn't just make any videos. I couldn't just talk to the camera without talking about what I'm going to be talking about in this video. As some may know by watching my most recent short, which I will link right up here, my best friend of 4 years was put down 2 days ago, and forgive me if I do tear up a little bit in this video, because this is very, very, very big for me. On stream, I used to show off this guy right here that I will show. He is a brown-black cat with hazel eyes, and we rescued him and we named him Roma, which is just the Russian translation for Romeo or Roma, but we roll the R. He was very attached to me. Very. And we rescued him from our aunts in Spokane, and throughout the car ride, which was about 6.5 hour drive home, we learned he's a very talkative cat. And he was always talkative when, either food was around or toys was around. He was able to get your attention very, very well. And this was today, April 2nd. I'm pretty sure this is going to be out on April 3rd or 4th. Roma was officially put down at April 1st, 1642. Or 1655, somewhere between that. He lived for about 4 years, and we gave him the happiest 4 years that we could. He had a genetic stomach, I guess you could say, mutation, and his entire litter was like that. He was a very picky eater, and people who've had picky cats in the past know exactly what I'm going to say next. But cats, when they're picky, when they turn 3 or 4, somewhere in that range, their stomach just will start to completely reject food and water. And that's exactly what Roma did. He rejected all food, all water we tried to give him. And then he stopped eating for about a day, and we were like, weird, he must just have some weird stomach bug. And then he started throwing up the day afterwards, just 2 to 3 times a day. And we didn't react at first because we thought, okay, it was just gonna disappear and just all go back to normal, but it didn't. He kept getting worse and worse and worse, and looking back at it, we should have taken him to the vet earlier, but we took him too late. But we gave him an honorable death. When we took him to the vet, they did a blood sample and like a urination sample, I think, or something, and showed no results. His white blood cell count was super high, and his red blood cell count was super low. and he lost 2 pounds in 3 days. You could feel his spine on the back of his head, and just throughout his entire body, you could feel his ribs, like, very detailed, his spine, everything. And we were basically told there's 2 options. You could try and do like a, excuse me, we could they said we could try and do a, what was it called? An IT scan or something like that. They said if there is a foreign object in his stomach, that could easily cause something, but they said it was $3 to $5 grand. And with people who have been watching my dad's channel, which I will link up here and in the description, we don't have that money. And it was either spend that money and possibly get something, or put him down. And they said the best option in this scenario is to put him down. And when I was younger, I used to be very emotional. And growing up, I kind of became less of that after the raid. But it's pretty hard for even me to get a tear out of myself. Almost never been able to. In that situation, when they said your only option may be to put him down, I never cried so hard in my life. I was holding as much as I could back, but I just couldn't. Because that was my best friend of 4 years. Mind you, my oldest brother, which I'm not gonna, name drop, he raised this kid. When we first brought him, we got him comfortable to his room, and, he got comfortable with Roma, and Roma got comfortable with him, with the scent and feel and other such, but then my oldest brother had to go to work. So, when we took him, he was about 5 weeks. When my oldest brother started going to work, it was about, I'd say 10 weeks, 11 weeks, and he was finally able to just go on his own. And, of course, we had Max and, Lisa in the house. So it was a big change for him. But before we even took him, when we were at my aunt's house, when we came, he walked past everybody. He sniffed my mom and my youngest brother, for a little bit, and then went straight to me. I was like, that's interesting. Weird. Like, I've never met him before, and he's just instantly attached to me. Sorry, a little bit of inconvenience. But Orama was, when we were taking him home, he not necessarily cried a lot, but screamed a lot in the car. And, after about 10, 11 weeks of, how old he was, was let out into the house, and he got very comfortable with me very fast. Like, I'm saying, in the first 2 hours, he was napping on my lap. That's how comfortable he was. He was a, very talkative cat, very playful cat, but he acted like a dog. Put it that way. He was a dog cat. That's the simplest way I could put it. He was the nicest dog cat. He'd shoot rubber, foam, Crocs, anything that was rubber, anything that was plastic, he'd shoot on. And then spit it out 30 minutes later. But then he was also very cuddly. He loved to drool. He purred a lot. Like, I'll put up a video of him just purring flat out on my lap. And kind of connection went on for about 3 more years before he started having, a lot of issues. I will be right back. The camera battery's bleeping at me. Okay, we're back. Changed camera batteries. With the 4 years of him, growing close to me, like, our oldest cat, Lisa, she's 8 now. 8 or 7, she's somewhere around there. I'm pretty sure she's 8. She, was like all the older, all the older people in the house, like my mom, dad, oldest brother, second oldest brother. She loved them all. She was kind of off and on with me. Then we had Max, which is by all means my youngest brothers. They follow each other around everywhere. It's just, those guys are inseparable. And kind of so was me and Roma. When he was starting to get sick, I was getting this worry gut feeling just seeing him in so much pain. And before we put him down, we called around everywhere because we didn't want to lose this guy. So, relatives and, extended family, they don't understand why. Like, you would spend all this money on an animal, but these cats are our family. Roma was a part of our family. So was Lisa and, Max. But Roma was a little different because we didn't spend, not everyone got all the time with him. So, we had that relationship with him, but not as close as Lisa and Max. Because, we went through death quite a lot with those two. And, a little note to self for, any cat owners or anyone who wants to get a cat in the future. If the doctor, if your cat has an issue and the doctor has almost basically no idea what is happening to your cat, it's basically all done. Because when they got that blood work, they had no idea what it could be. They said it could be 10, 15 different things. And we were like, well, okay, to figure out any of those, what would be like a rough estimate cost? Well, she was like, well, it could be upwards of $10,000 to $15,000. We didn't have that money. We paid $1,200 to put him down, and then $500 on top of that to just get the blood work and get the not the IV test, the urine sample. That last day, Rama was just with my oldest brother, just on our couch, purring, so comfortable, like he got better. But we kind of just made the decision that it has to happen. And this is where I might actually start tearing up. When we were taking him, everything just dawned on me. Mind you, I'm religious, and I was just praying and praying and praying. Why him? Why him? Why him? Why did it have to be him? What was wrong with him that this had to happen? And just throughout the car ride, I was just tearing up. Not necessarily fully crying, but it was all dawning on me that he's gonna leave. And there's nothing I can do about it. This is literally the day after he's gone. He's been gone for over a full day now. But honestly, he couldn't have had a better death than what we gave him. because when we were taking him, I was in the back seat with him. He was in the carrier, or like a mesh carrier, not plastic. He was just begging to get out. Like, he was just pushing around everywhere trying to get out. So I opened, there's a top zipper, and as soon as I opened it for like this much. That's all I opened it. He pushed his head out and jumped out. And he just sat on my lap and just purred. And I broke down right in front of my dad. But my dad was also kind of... To my dad, he understands that we love them, but he doesn't have that relationship with them as much as us to them. But, he was... When Max got sick, he had a blockage. He understood that he's not just doing it for this cat. He was doing it for us. And that's what kind of made him push through with, income to actually take care of Max. Max was about not 1,700, like 5,700, 7,200, something like that. And we're glad that we did it. Because the difference between with Max and Roma's issues is Roma, no doctor had any clue. We took Max to one doctor. And he said, oh, it's a blockage. But it looks pretty severe. He was like, if you got here maybe an hour later, he wouldn't have made it. But, it was more of a nicer end hospital, and it was very expensive. And, we had the money, but we didn't want to spend as much as they were telling us to spend. So we took him to a different hospital in Oregon that actually will do it, because we have a friend who works there. And we had to leave him there for a day, which was kind of the biggest payout after all that, because he had to be monitored and watched over, had to stay a night over, just to make sure that the blockage either doesn't come back or doesn't spread to something worse. And he made a full recovery. Of course, when he came home, Roma wasn't happy with him because he smelled like medicine. And that was kind of the same thing for Roma, because when we brought Roma home from, that first vet, they were like, yeah, there's nothing we can do. He smelled like medicine. Max wasn't happy about it. Lisa didn't care. Because, Max and Lisa, or Roma and Lisa, they've never really had a good relationship. Because, we kind of paired, a very, very protective cat. And I mean very protective. Roma was very protective. Lisa, she's a diva. And, she gets angry at us. She doesn't do it much anymore, but back then, Roma would just flat out swipe at her because she got mad at us. And we kind of figured out that it was a kind of, we're the people who feed him, we're the people who love him. So he's going to protect us in order to keep getting all that. It's weird. But Roma, after he jumped out of my lap and just sat there and purred, with me breaking down and everything, I didn't want him to go. And it was very hard taking him in. And when we did, they, had him get settled and all. And then they took him to the back and put a catheter on him. And they told us a little bit of news. They were like, we had to put it on his front paw, which they normally do the rear right most of the time, sometimes to the left. She said the veins were so thin that she could probably just swipe with her own finger and it could probably burst. That's how bad that was. And I was just petting him and petting him and petting him, just hoping that he would get better. And he didn't. And we ordered for a nose print, a paw print, a ink print, and then ashes, because we want to just go out and spread them somewhere. You know, we were planning on like a river or a mountain, but we have no idea. We're still deciding, because this is the day after, and we haven't got anything yet. No paw prints, nothing. I'm pretty sure they're just gonna just send it all in one. But they first put a type of like calming medicine, and it just settled him down. But he was still purring and just giving all the love he could to all of us. Like, that kid was my best friend, and he's just gone like that. But whenever I get questions from my friends like, are you gonna be okay? Do you need to talk to anyone? I'm like, first of all, I have Jesus Christ. 2, I'm alive, aren't I? I'm still here. Like, I'll be fine. I'll manage it somehow. Then they put a type of second dose that was kind of like anesthesia. Like, they said it kind of puts him like in a sleep or in a coma, but that's like the human term of it. But what it does to animals is just basically paralyze them, where they can't move their head, they can't move their body, they can blink, they can breathe, they have heartbeat and all, but they can't do anything else. Basically, their entire nervous system is just paralyzed. Like, they can still hear, see, whatever such, but they have no movement. And she asked, "Are you guys ready?" We just all through tears said yes. And she put the final injection in, which is what actually kind of took him out. And before he left, I was kind of just talking to myself, and I was like, what can I do for me that will one, help me remember him, and 2, just make me not hate myself that I didn't do it, that I kind of just left him there. And I was like, okay, I want him to see me last. I want him to feel me last. And he only sniffed me. He didn't sniff my older brother. He sniffed him once, and that was it. But most of the sniffs I got out of him. My dad, nothing. Just pets, but no sniffs. And when they put the injection in, he saw me last. I petted him last. And this is, when I petted him, it was about 2 seconds after she said, "His heart has stopped. He has officially passed away." And there's some leftover blood that goes to the brain. And I know for a fact, because, God told me that it was just enough that, like, he saw me last and felt me last. And I got the last sniffs from him. And just coming back home, I just couldn't. I was just crying so much in the car because I was like, life is going to be so much different because it's going to be peaceful. Because, he was a very. He was a very. Wild cat. Dog cat. Chewing on everything. Rousy. Super loud. So it was a big change and a big difference from, our daily lives. And when I got home, or before that, before we actually fully left, my, brother had to go to work afterwards, because he took a day off to, just say goodbye to Roma, because he said goodbye over the phone, but I knew in his tone that it wasn't enough. And I didn't really expect him to take a day off, but I thought he would do something else. Not necessarily sure what else he would have done, but when I was told that he was, coming home for just a day to hang out with Roma, I was like, yeah, I should have expected this. And before he left back to work, he said goodbye to my dad, and my dad went back to the car to turn it on, and I was like, have a good day, in tears. And this, mind you, I have never really cried or opened up deeply to my brother. Never have. It's not necessarily just something that we do. And he just hugged me so tight and said, it's gonna be okay. Like, life's gonna be different, but I want you to promise me that you will love the others, Rama and Max, as much as you humanly can. I was like, I promise I will. Damn it, the camera battery's gonna die again. Sorry for the horrible quality change. I'm now on my phone. But, he hugged me so tight, and everything just clicked, and I was like, he's gone now. There's nothing I can do. There's nothing I can change. And that's where it kind of fully broke to me. And on the way home, I was just running the images through my head of when they put the second injection in. With his body going fully numb. He was holding his head up with whatever strength he had left and purring. When, she put his head down, he was looking at me. And I was just like, I just felt so broken. And it's awesome. Hold on. It's all starting to come back to me. When we came home, and I put inside an empty carrier that an hour ago had a living being in it, everything was just on and off, breaking me. And I came upstairs because I just instantly took my shoes off and went upstairs because I was like, I need to be comforted. But I don't care who, just someone. And I literally walk upstairs and my mom is just ready with open arms to just take me in. I never took off my coat and ran to my mom that fast before. Never have. And we just cried together. And it was definitely a moment. Because she wanted to help him as much as possible. But she knew that anything we did was just a never-ending hole with him. And afterwards, when I finally calmed down, I was like, well, assess the situation. I was the last one he remembered. I was the last one he saw. I was the last one he felt. I was the last one he touched. I did everything I needed, everything I wanted for him to remember me. And he went down with a smile on his face, purring. He knew that his time came, but he wasn't. He was just so ready, and it's just like, how are you so ready for that? And I just, how do I even say this? I was fine. Like, I was okay that he just left. And I started just praying, like praying and praying and praying that, Lord, have mercy on his body. Like, take care of him. Well, I can't. And I felt so much peace after that. That he's not here suffering through pain. And then he went out with a smile on his face and purring. I made that short as two things. Just to, remind people to love anyone they can. And, just as a memory to me. And I'm so glad that he went out the way he did. And, thank you to Zorn _XX on Twitch, for making this guy that I will show on screen. She made him. I asked her to make that, just, as an inspiration to Rama, and this was when he was alive. Because I was like, I need some type of remembrance on stream, about this guy, and she crushed it. He does look a little chubby and a little off if you actually look to the details. But if you actually just look at him, he looks perfect. And it's been a big change, but I told myself, no matter how much this has, this scarred me horribly, but I told myself, no matter how bad this might have scarred me, no matter how many times I might cry to myself that he's gone, I'm happy that he went out the way he did. And that we'll have some type of memory of him, with ink print and paw print and stuff like that. And the reason I'm making this video is I didn't want to talk about it. Because I didn't want to just break down in front of a camera. But when I tried filming, I was playing CS Ranked, and I wanted to film it, but I was just like, I just couldn't. I couldn't just talk to myself. And I just couldn't talk to the camera without bringing it up in some way. So I just want to make this to, clarify what's happening in my life, and that I will slowly begin to change and slowly begin to, not necessarily change, but slowly begin to heal. So, in any future videos or any future streams or whatever such, if you see me tear up a little bit, just comment or, say, Jesus loves you and you'll be okay. That's it. That's all you have to do, and I'll be completely fine. And I'm glad that we gave him a happy 4 years for him to purr, going down. I completed what I wanted to do with him. And I'm glad. And, we'll move forward, and, life will happen. But now I have kind of a new motivation to fix this junk, this entire thing. And, just, move forward in life in general. Like anything I do now, I'm like, okay, I'm doing it for the memory of Roma. That's it. And in literally 2 days, I have 71 or 72 degree weather to work on this car. And that's exactly what I'm going to attempt to do. I'm going to need some time to heal, but I want to just get everything back into swing. And, not try and hide it to myself. I wanted to let you guys know. I feel like that one video just wasn't gonna cut it. Like, I needed something else to just clarify, what's going on in my life and what, I just need to get off my chest. And, thank you if you have made it to, this long into the video. Thank you. May God bless you. And, thank you for just hearing me out and my random back and forth with everything and not having a clear talk. I'm sorry, that's just the way I am, and my mind's just racing. So, Roma's in a better place, with no pain, with no suffering, remembering me. Hopefully. All glory to God. May God bless all of you. Goodbye. Future self here, editing the video right now. I just wanted to clarify that, with him passing, it kind of, made me realize that he's not. Rama wouldn't want me to sit around and whimper. And he'd want me to, move forward, but remember him. And, today, and, yesterday, after his passing, I felt peace, comfort, knowing that he's not in pain, knowing that he's not hurt. And I can focus on myself and not have the fact that he's gone drive me into pain or depression or other such, because I know that's not what he would want me to do. So I'm just I'm moving forward knowing that he's going to be watching over me from heaven. And that's it. And I'm not going to sit around and, not do anything and use the fact that he's gone as an excuse. I'm not going to do that. That's wrong. That's not what he would want me to do. That's not what I'm going to do. So, even after you do see this video, I am going to take some time to, get comfortable to myself and maybe get the motivation to, continue to make more videos and stream, because I talked to Zorn, when I came back, and that's it. Oh, we didn't get on a call. We didn't say, I stopped by his stream, but that's it. I didn't, and I didn't tell anyone anything. It just kept bringing pain to me, and I couldn't hold myself in to continue just hiding myself like this. That's why I wanted to make this video, just to kind of get everyone an understanding of what's been happening in my life for the past
couple days, and for, any questions that anyone may have for, if I ever did post a future video without posting this one, you know, just kind of, solve everyone's answers, solve everyone's problems. So uh, I'm gonna slowly get back to myself because, this is the biggest deal for me because, I lost my best friend. I mean, my older brother, oldest brother, he raised this kid. I'm the one who shaped this kid into who he became. And, I created the biggest relationship with this guy. So everyone knew as soon as he passed that it'd be the hardest on me. And they're not wrong. It was the hardest on me. But he's in a better place now. So I don't have to worry about him being in pain, about him suffering. Because he's in heaven, a place where he can't suffer, a place where he can't feel pain. And that just brings comfort to myself and an understanding that I'm gonna be okay. And every single day that I get to move forward on, I have a chance of seeing him. So that's kind of my motivation to, you know, keep moving forward in life. So thank you for your guys' time. Thank you for your guys' patience. Have a wonderful day.